Well, what's on the menu for today's episode of Monday Madness? It's actually our review of The Menu with Ralph Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy, a fun new horror dark comedy amalgamation. It was interesting. We'll get into it. We also have trailer talk on Magic Mike's Last Dance and the new Pixar movie Elemental, as well as talking some of our favourite food-related movies and discovering some weird foods from our respective countries. Jeannine, yes, all of it today on the show. Welcome to the Madness. Hello everyone, welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. I don't know what all this arm movement is from me. I think it's because I'm not holding my drink. Although the audio people cannot see this, of course. Hello to you as well. The Machine, how are we? How are you? How are things?
We are good. How was the Morgan?
I'm fine, yes. I'm hungry because we're going to be
I
talking
know.
food.
hmm
So, yes, it's exciting, really. I suppose we haven't had really a kind of remotely food-centric episode of the show in its 25 episode history now. I
I
should say, actually,
know.
this is
We
the
should do a
25th
series.
episode.
We should do a series on food movies.
We should, but I mean, looking at some, there's not many like big ones. Just in general, just when you
Yeah.
think of like movies about food, there's a lot of kind of smaller ones, kind of independent ones, but there's not many kind of huge movies that center around food, which is weird, really, given the fact that most people like food.
Yeah. I think
Jeannine?
it's a good backdrop for a movie. I mean, I think we got kind of this weird series of like rom-com based food movies, like chef kitchen
Yeah,
movies that were like romantic comedies. But yeah, like,
there's
I'm
that.
surprised there's not more that are, like, kind of bigger mainstream. I think the biggest one that kind of made a mark was Chef, and people talk a
Yeah,
lot about that. It kind of started independent, and then more people kind of saw it, and so I think that's probably one of the bigger ones.
there's that Bradley Cooper movie as well, isn't there? What's it
Burnt.
called? Burnt. Yes.
Yes.
That's a kind of I'm a terrible chef, but I'm really obsessive kind of movie. It's quite
Yeah.
similar to The Menu, really, but it's not, because it's not as kind of theatrical as
Yes.
as The Menu is, which is I suppose kind of this week's big movie release.
Yeah.
Um, both here in the UK and in the US, it's kind of had your same week release, and at this time of year for a slightly smaller movie, that's not necessarily always going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, how did your
So,
theater look? Mine was pretty light.
oh yeah, there was about 3 people in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me for a lot of the time, actually, and then right before the trailers ended, like 2 people came in.
Okay. I feel like this might be a word of mouth thing because I've seen people kind of really have a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I saw the trailers for it for a few things that I've seen recently, and just
yeah,
really, really
really was
wanted to
into
see
it.
it.
Yeah, I was really excited to see this one.
It's fun. Anyway, let's ask the question, Jeannine, that we always like to ask at the start of an episode of Monday Madness. So, Jeannine,
We have a few things up today,
we do,
Morgan.
we do.
We got some new trailers, so we can get into those.
Yes. Should
We
we start by doing this then, or should we start by actually just mentioning that something that I thought was going to be a bigger deal than it was, which we don't actually have on our notes list, by the way. But
mm,
we got the was it the first look at Indiana Jones 5? It's basically 2 pictures,
oh yeah.
which is just like, okay, yes, there's Harrison Ford dressed like Indiana Jones. We know what that looks like,
Yeah.
and it tells me absolutely nothing. So that was that. We got that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I got to see a bit of footage at D23, so it looks like a lot of fun. Looks like we're gonna get some flashbacks, some kind of de-aging, young indie flashback kind of things.
Is the de-aging
Um,
bad?
no, it looked good from what
Okay.
from what I could tell. I think he was kind of like in a bit of shadow and
I
strategic
see.
lighting,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
and some like glossy glow kind of happening. But yeah, I mean, it looked like a lot of fun. We didn't really get any kind of details about the plot, essentially. But
Yeah, I don't think we have it all yet, have we?
yes, but no, it looked pretty fun. So I'm
But yeah,
excited.
I think it was Empire
Oh,
magazine
okay.
who
Mhm.
released
Release some
these
pictures.
photos. I think they've got the exclusive kind of first look. I think it's probably next week when the full kind of article and all this business and
Okay,
interviews and all
so
that come out.
the footage that we kinda saw might be end up being kind of
Possibly.
what the trailer will be.
Yes, quite possibly, but I think we've got just a couple of pictures, and yes, it looks like Harrison Ford dressed as Indiana Jones. This is somewhat exciting, even though I do think that, as much as I know that Harrison Ford loves Indiana Jones, why we're doing it to him? I
I
mean, he
mean, y
wants to. He
this
wants
is
to.
the one character he doesn't get all grouchy and surly about. Like, he got
It
really
is.
genuinely emotional at D23 kind of talking about this being the last time he was gonna play this character. So, when we can get a Harrison who actually kind of cares,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
worthwhile.
into it. Yeah.
You are right. You are right. But yes, trailers that we have to talk about, Janine. One movie I think you're particularly ridiculously excited for, given the fact that we have the concept of the Morgan movie and we have the concept of the Jeannine movie, and
Yes.
this is very much the latter, I think.
Yeah, Magic Mike's Last Dance. Kind of low key hyped for this. Um, if I had to kind of pick probably my top 10 or 15 movies, Magic Mike XXL would be in there. Just
That is
because
incredible to me.
that movie is just so much fun. The first one, it had some fun things in there, but it got very kind of just weirdly dark in moments. And it just wasn't as fun. Like, what the second movie was is what kind of the first movie was advertised as.
Okay.
So the second movie was just a whole lot of fun. Now, both with two people who tend to be seen as a little bit problematic in it, but I
Who
I
what
s-
who's in those first two then?
well, the second one,
Who's in this who's in the second one? Which
both Jada Pinkett Smith and Amber Heard are in the second one.
Ah, okay.
um So yes. But I mean that movie is just so much fun. Um you just like love these characters. There's like so many moments that you can't wait for the movie to get to. Because it's just funny and entertaining and
Yes, we
everything
know
kind of that
why
the
you
first movie
like it, don't we?
promised you. I mean,
Is it for the
yes.
obvious reason?
I mean, no, I think it's a little bit more than that. It's just a lot of fun.
I hope it is
So
a little bit more than that. I hope you're not that kind of,
no, no,
"Ooh,
no, no, no.
pretty," kind
Yes,
of
I mean,
surface
yes,
level,
pretty
"Let's just
pretty
watch this."
guys, but it's like how they set it up like it's like these guys, they're trying to do this thing and it doesn't quite work out. So then they're just kind of like we're just going to go for it. And then each guy has like a little moment that kind of is geared to like their kind of specialty. So it's kind of this like each
Yeah,
guy kind of getting to shine. So that's kind of a whole cute little thing. And there's like this kind of montage of them like putting their own routine together because before they were really doing just kind of generic stuff, but then they kind of challenged themselves to like come up with their own thing you know
okay.
so it kind of there's more to it than just kind of like naked guys dancing
Well, this is what I've always assumed it just was.
it just sets up
Naturally.
it sets up some likable characters, so you're really
Okay.
kind of excited to see what they do. And
I
so
haven't seen any of them.
I, I just have a lot of fun with that movie. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where this goes. This one doesn't seem like it's involving the other guys. It
No,
seems like
it's
it's
just Channing
purely
Tatum, really, isn't
yes,
it?
and Salma Hayek, and she kind of backs him to set up some big show in London. So,
I would like
um,
to just say that I think Salma Hayek fits my interpretation of the Magic Mike movies absolutely perfectly, because
yes, I
I
think
just
she's
think
good
she's
casting.
just yes, she would absolutely nail this kind of sexy vibe of a movie.
Yes, well, like Andy McDowell had a very kind of similar role in XXL from what I can see.
Okay.
Obviously beautiful older woman who maybe, still has that drive, but like doesn't really have someone to kind of bring that out in her. And so there is a scene in the movie where somebody does kind of get
Okay.
her. So, yeah, it definitely I like that energy of a gorgeous older woman who's kind of just lost her, zest for, being, feeling sexy or whatever, and Mike kind of coming in and reminding her and
I don't
inspiring
like to
her.
think I don't like to think of Salma Hayek ever losing her zest.
Yes. So we'll have to see if she can pull off playing someone like that because she does not seem like someone like that.
Not at all.
No. So Mike's dance apparently is special enough for her to kind of back him in a whole show in London. So curious to see how that goes. Some of the elements of the show look very similar to the actual Magic Mike show that they now have in Las Vegas, which I did get to go to at a bachelorette party. So um they actually did like a whole contest on HBO where they were trying to like they had this show and they were trying to find like the guy to be like the newest guy in the show. So there was like a
Okay.
whole competition show and
And you were really into it. You watched
well,
every little
no,
thing they
my
put out.
friend. We went to the bachelorette party. We went to this Magic Mike show, and my friend was literally the one pointing out the guys who like won the contest, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, you have to watch this Magic Mike show. That
Wow.
guy right there, he won the contest, and that guy he got second place." And like, so she was the one who told me about it, and so then I ended up watching the show from there because the show was actually pretty entertaining, more than
I'm
just like
sure
the
it was.
guys, but, like, no, they're actually doing, like, acrobatics and, like, on wires and all kinds of
Okay.
crazy stuff and water, and so there's a lot going on more than just, guys taking off the clothes. So that they actually really try to do an entertaining show. Um, so, yeah, I actually got to see that show. So elements of what I'm in the trailer look similar to things I
I see.
saw
Okay.
and stage setup that in the actual show. So I don't know if it's kind of like a nod to that, but
I mean, from this third trailer, it does look quite a introspective movie, or from
yeah.
this third movie trailer, I should say. Like I said, I haven't seen the two Magic Mike movies, but I've always obviously had the image of them in my
Yes.
mind as to what they may be, and perhaps obviously you don't give movies like that enough credit unless you have seen them because they're marketed as one way, aren't they?
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the first one was definitely marketed as this kind of, just stripper guy movie, but they didn't really focus on it that much in that first movie,
Right.
which was weird. So then I think that was kind of uh, a complaint, I guess, or like a
Yeah.
commentary that they got. So then they really leaned into that in the second movie, which made it more fun and what everyone thought the first movie should have been. So now, I think this one is rightfully kind of upping the stakes a little bit, and this is kind of Channing series, so it makes sense that it's
Yeah.
focused around him.
And
And
it's nice for Channing Tatum. I like to see Channing Tatum kind of do good things because I enjoy him
yes, so it
generally.
just looks like a lot of fun. I like this kind of idea of this woman kind of backing him in his own kind of show. Um, so I'm curious to see kind of where that goes because Mike kind of they kind of established that like the last movie was this group of guys kind of last hurrah together, and
Okay.
Mike kind of was doing, in the beginning of the movie Mike was doing kind of his other job that he wanted to do at the end of the first movie. So I'm curious to see kind of like how, he ended up, because he wanted to design his own furniture. So in the
Okay.
beginning of the next movie, he's designing his own furniture and has his own kind of small business and he's trying to get that going, and then he gets into like doing this whole kind of last hurrah with the guys. So curious to kind of see how he's back to like bartending and then, you know, still kind of side
Dancing.
stripping. Yes. So I'm curious to see how he gets back there and away from kind of like the thing that he seemed like he was very passionate about in the first two movies.
Okay. But
So I'm
we're
curious
into
to see
this
how he gets
trailer,
there.
though? We're
Yeah,
into this?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm intrigued, and I hope maybe they can work in the other guys in some way because they were kind of a major part of the first two
Yeah,
movies. So
I would imagine so. Good.
yes,
I'm glad you're into it. You as the
yes,
biggest Magic Mike fan possible. This gives the movie some credit. I think this gives the movie
yes. So low
some
key hype.
something
Yeah,
to
yeah.
stand on.
Kind of hyped
Good.
for that movie. Yeah.
Are we hyped then for Pixar's new upcoming movie, Elemental, about a fire creature
I
and a
mean,
water creature and a soil creature and a
yes,
cloud creature and all these other different things? I kind
yes.
of like it.
I mean, I like the idea. I think it's cute. I mean, and like even the names, like her name is Ember,
Yeah,
and his name is Wade, like wading in the water.
yeah, I like it.
And yeah, so I like that kind of concept. People are saying they really love the animation. I don't know that I'm a fan of the style. It looks kind of unfinished to me. I don't know.
It, I mean, it looks kind of. I suppose it's a weird thing to say. It looks round. Like, the animation looks round.
Yeah,
Like, it looks absolutely the opposite of angular.
yeah,
It's kind of fluffy.
yeah.
Everything looks quite, yeah, I don't know how to say it other than round. Um, no, that's a horrible word. I was gonna say bulbous. That doesn't make any sense, really, does it?
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like there's not really any
Thick. No.
strong there's not really any strong detailing, I guess.
No, 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 that's what I mean. It's not like angular. There's no hard lines or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, but I
Everything
know
feels kind of loose. I'm just I don't seeing with the little bit that I saw, I don't think I'm a fan of kind of the look of the characters. It looks kind of just unfinished and very kind of a little too simplistic for what I'm used to seeing from Pixar.
I
So,
don't necessarily disagree. I mean, I quite like the way it looks, to be honest. And you are obviously you're a fan of hard lines and kind of angular animation and kind of animated art, aren't you?
yeah.
This is what you particularly personally like. So maybe it's just a personal kind of
Yeah, maybe.
opinion situation. It's not much we get from this teaser trailer we got this week. We basically
No.
just get a kind of tracking shot of this ember fire creature walking onto a bus or a train or whatever it is.
Yeah, like a subway
Um,
car
and there's
and
all these other element
elementals.
creatures
Yeah, like
around,
clouds and
clouds and soil, and
greens people and
yeah,
water people and yeah.
it looks interesting. I always think Pixar does its best stuff when they're not focusing on humans.
Yeah.
When they're focusing on the emotions of a monster, the emotions of, an insect, the emotions of emotions themselves, the
Yes.
emotions of elements. I like this.
Yeah, these kind of higher concepts. Yeah, so I like the idea of it. I'm definitely into that, and I liked getting to see kind of how these different elements interact. Because yeah, they made a point to kind of as you're following Ember, you're walking by, a water guy sneezes on a land person, and like it
Yeah.
makes their little hair grass grow, and
And he looks really happy about it, doesn't he? The
yes,
the
yeah,
land soil person.
yeah,
So yeah, it's I think it's gonna be an interesting movie. I'm actually quite into it. I'm actually quite into the look of it, into the kind of feeling of it.
yeah,
Um,
definitely
I'm sure it'll go to very kind of pure
interesting
base
places.
themes kind of thing
Yeah.
of how the world and how nature interacts with one another, how at its absolute core functions the world works, how all the elements have to come together as one to create a bigger
Yeah.
whole and all this business. I'm
And if
sure it's going
there's
to be all
going to
about that.
be a divide kind of felt because, you have 2 very opposing elements kind of wanting to come together.
Yeah. I think it is supposed to be a predominantly romantic movie as well,
Yeah.
between
So
this
is it gonna be
fire
this
person and water person.
star-crossed kind of we can't
Yeah.
be together type situation?
How does that work?
Yeah.
Fire water romance. It doesn't work. You'll burn
Yeah.
me. Well, you'll drown me.
Yeah.
Oh no. It might be interesting because it could be too surface level, but I do have faith in Pixar that it will get
Go a little
really
deeper.
quite deep.
Yeah.
Um and treat it could treat the romance between a fire person and a water person as a you know a even an interracial romance or something like that. It could have mirrors there.
Equate
It
to
could,
that, kind of like Zootopia had these even though that
exactly,
wasn't Pixar, but, like, had definitely kind of these racial undertones.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it could be something like that. I think they could do something like that. I can see the movie being about a group of people, maybe higher up, maybe some sort of organization who are like, no, 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 water and fire can't be together. This is ridiculous. This doesn't work. They have to be separate. And it's about kind of
Yeah.
fighting against that and coming together. And this is always a good idea for me.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm into this, and I do quite like the way it looks myself. I do
Okay.
like, the kind of your preferred angular, heavy black lines kind of art. I do like that. We talked about Batman the animated series last week. I mean,
Yes,
for goodness sake,
love
didn't
that.
we?
Love that,
Which is
yes.
the most
Very
angular, heavy
angular.
black lines kind of
Yeah.
art possible.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I do like this. I know it's obviously CG because this is what Pixar is, and
Yeah, so I'm curious to see more of the world and these characters more kind of in motion and stuff, to see if I'll, change my mind on the animation style, but for now, I don't know that I'm a huge fan of how it looks, but I'm really curious about this world and really interested in this story, so
yeah, and I just hope and I assume that it's actually going to be in cinemas, so it will feel like a real movie for me,
I know, yeah,
as
because
opposed to
Pixar
just
had
being
been
thrown
doing
on
this.
Disney Plus.
Yes, but so now that theaters are kind of in their kind of swing again, so hopefully this will get a theatrical release.
Because I missed things like Turning Red, which we did. Don Morgan hasn't seen. Did we do Turning Red? Or Morgan hasn't seen. I've
I
watched Turning Red for a reason, and I don't remember why. Was it Morgan hasn't seen? I want to say it possibly was. Was it?
Maybe. Did we do,
I'm
like, a second
confused now.
animation run? I don't remember.
I don't remember, but I remember watching it, and I don't understand why I would have watched it if it wasn't for a show.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless I just told you to watch it because it was good.
Possibly, completely forget now.
Yeah.
But I did watch it, and obviously that was a straight to Disney Plus Pixar movie, and
Yeah.
this is why I just forgot about its existence. Because
Yeah.
it's there. I didn't see any kind of big marketing anywhere for it because it wasn't a cinema movie, it wasn't a theatrical movie, but it was a really, really good
It was
movie.
great,
It's a
yeah.
really good movie.
Yeah.
Um, like real top tier modern Pixar for me, I
Yeah.
would say. Um, we might have actually done it when we did some sort of Pixar related episode of this show, and I might have watched it for a
Oh,
reason
yes,
of that.
yes. That might be mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
figured it out. But no, I do like the look of Elemental, and as much as Pixar, I don't think treats us to classic after classic after classic like it did 10, 15 years ago. Even, well, 15 years ago, really. It still has the ability to throw
To
out
do that.
great movies,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Of
Mhm.
course they
Yeah.
do. And I hope
So
this is one of them because I like the
yeah.
idea of it.
Yes,
Yes.
me too.
Elemental. Elemental. Well, should we get into our main review for
Yes,
this
let's do
week,
it.
Jeannine? The Menu.
Yes.
Mark Mylod directed. Somebody who you'll recognise who did a number of Game of Thrones episodes. This is what I recognise him from.
Yes, well, I saw
Anyway,
an executive producer credit for, Will Ferrell,
yeah, I think it's
so
Adam McKay and Will
yeah.
Ferrell executive producing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is weird actually when you watch the movie.
Yeah.
But no, like we said before, this is one I'd seen the trailers for in a few things that I'd actually gone watching recently. Didn't really know about it coming out before seeing those, and this is the good thing about going to the cinema and watching the trailers because
Trailers, yeah, you get to
you,
see.
you find things that you might actually look at and go, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting." And oh my god, was it really, really the most Morgan movie possible? Like this is I don't even know if this is recency bias or not, but this is the most enjoyable, or this is one of the most enjoyable movies I have seen all year. Like new
Yes.
movies.
No, I had a lot of fun with this. I was very much kind of nervous of what was gonna happen. Really kind of had these moments where my jaw was on the floor, like, "Oh my gosh." Um, the pacing of kind of the escalation of events was really well done. Um,
Really, really
really
perfect.
kind of equating the build of the night, with these courses, I thought was, like,
Yeah.
a very fun thing.
Structuring
Um
it, structuring the
Yes.
whole movie in courses. I mean, this movie is basically a group of people go to a really fancy restaurant on a remote island that's like ridiculously upper class.
Yes, and it's this very elevated dining experience.
Yes, and it's all very, very obsessive. I mean, there's sequences in this movie that are really quite mesmerizing to watch, like some of the cooking sequences when you're just
Yeah.
watching these really precise things happen. Um, Quite hypnotic at times, and with the way it's structured in these courses. Ray Fiennes is our kind of lead chef. He's the head chef. He's the lead, really, of the movie, isn't he? I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, who is just the most obsessive kind of let's take all the fun out of cooking and just make it all about precision
Yeah. Well, I
chef
think,
possible.
he does kind of go into it later for himself, if we're gonna get into spoilers. So,
Yeah, I
um
suppose so.
so yeah, he does kind of talk about how he hasn't really had that joy for cooking. It's all about kind of the technical aspect for him, and he hasn't had that desire to want to cook for somebody, out of pure happiness in a long time.
Yeah,
So that's kind of his running theme of the night, and we kind of talk about, at the beginning, it's up to you to kind of figure out what the overarching theme of the dinner is. And so then
like,
we kind of get
also,
there by
why is
the
there an
end.
overarching theme of a meal? Just go for a meal. Just pay for a
Yes.
meal. I am very much Anya Taylor-Joy in this movie. That's just like, why can't I just pay for a meal? I want to eat. I don't want
Yes.
to
I
have to
don't need this
think
high
about it.
concept dinner. Um, for me, this film was actually giving me a lot of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory vibes. I mean, you have your kind of spoilers again. So we have our kind of group of people who all kind of turned out to be terrible people
Yeah,
going to this exclusive thing. Um, and you kind of have your eccentric kind of person leading the pack, and nobody really knows what's going on, and things seem fun, but then they do end up getting pretty dark. You have
yes.
your Charlie character in kind of the end, so who kind
Yeah,
of
I guess.
strikes up an understanding with the eccentric kind of head of things. So very much giving me a Willy Wonka sensibility, but a very much darker toned aspect,
Very,
very
very
much
dark.
more adult. Um,
I mean,
but also very funny and
very funny.
and campy in some ways, and satirical. Uh, so
Embraced its silliness.
Yes. So I
while
had a
while not while not having that silliness take over, while keeping a very
pretty dark
dark, very,
tone.
very kind of grim tone, really.
Yeah.
But really embracing its silliness, having little kind of side eye comments
Yeah.
that people would make at each other just be really noticeably funny.
Yes.
But it really working. I thought the balance of it was absolutely nailed, and this is what I mean. This is just such an enjoyable time for me.
Yeah.
It speaks to the kind of movies I love. These kind of precisely structured movies. Like I said, it's structured in kind of first course, second course, amuse bouche, supplementary course, and all these things. And you get the
Yes.
text
And
graphic
you
on
yeah, you
screen,
get
you
the
get the
text graphic showing you
ingredients
what it is. Yeah, Tyler's bullshit.
tight, exactly.
Yeah.
Outstanding. That's one of the
Mhm.
courses.
Yeah.
And a pretty big kind of like plot point course, I suppose that, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
Um it's so they're really sometimes tongue in cheek as well, some of those kind of
Yeah.
things. Like with some of the descriptions that they give,
Yeah.
um, that do kind of leave you laughing, but you look one layer under and it's really, really nasty. It's really dark.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting movie about obsession, about the kind of, I suppose, falling out of love with your own passion. I suppose it's about
Yes.
insecurity. It's
Yes,
about kind of
reaching the
yes,
height of kind of what you can do, but, does it even matter if people don't appreciate it, if you're not
yeah,
getting any joy out of it yourself? Um, and yeah, these people also kind of having to look at themselves
yeah.
and their kind of contribution to kind of taking somebody's great efforts for granted and,
Selfishness
yes.
is a massive
Mhm.
theme of this,
Yeah.
and I just love movies that are very. I know it sounds weird because the menu itself in the movie, the menu is obviously this high concept kind of thing that you just feel like if you actually went to anywhere that did something like this, you would be sat there going, "What's happening here? This is ridiculous."
Yes.
But the movie is actually quite high concept when
Yes.
you think about it, um, because of what it's actually kind of talking about, what it makes you kind of think about. How um how you are viewed, how you treat other people, how how a passion, how a career can seem on the surface kind of very, very desirable, but you realize that it couldn't be
It's
further
not.
from.
Yeah,
And
and,
there's
mhm.
sorry, go ahead. I'll end up
Oh,
waffling
no,
otherwise.
go ahead.
No. Honestly, I've now forgotten what I was talking about.
No, and just really kind of trying to understand what is even happening in moments because the tone,
Yeah,
the shifts are kind of so fluid that you're laughing at one thing and then something crazy happens immediately after that. Even like some of the reactions people were having to some of the crazy things,
yeah,
like I'm like, why is this person not reacting to this in the way they should be. So like, you have your kind of characters who are really into the food and seeming to appreciate it
yeah,
and they're not having kind of the same crazy reactions as everyone else. So I'm like, is there something they're getting out of the food that's making them not really react
yeah. You
because
you don't know.
so you don't know kind of what is even happening because some people are really kind of in the moment and other ones are kind of freaking out and so you're getting all these different reactions and some of it's kind of funny. So yeah, like your
Yeah,
emotions are kind of going all over the place, but the movie kind of keeps it very well balanced that, you're able to kind of stay in it and really want to kind of delve deeper into like what is really going on here.
It's
So
a real mystery. But
yes, and the
if
tone shifts are so fluid and
they
fun.
are.
Yeah.
But if you think about when I say it's a very Morgan movie, think about the kind of movies that I like. We're on a remote island.
Yeah.
Or we're on an island. I don't necessarily know how remote it is. I think it's a
I mean, it
short
looks
ferry ride, isn't it,
yes,
really?
but
But
it looks pretty remote in terms of,
it
you
looks
know.
remote, but there's quite a cultish staff at this particular restaurant.
Yeah.
There's
Very
weird
devoted
things
to
going
their
on.
chef. Yeah.
It's you know, and it's remote. There's strange things going on. Think of, I mean, don't necessarily think of the Wicker Man, but you know, island cultish kind of situation where everybody's obsessed with one particular person and one particular idea. There's an element. There's an element. And look, you put Anya Taylor-Joy in there as well, which I just think this movie is just perfect for her.
Yeah.
Yes, she these are the kind of movies I love seeing her in. These are the kind of movies she should she is perfect in.
She's
These are the
perfect
kind
for
of
this
movies
role.
she
Yeah.
is made for.
Yeah.
Playing the kind of protagonist, really, the hero, I suppose, if you want to call her, that.
Yeah.
The good one in a world of bad,
Yeah.
but she's also kind of a bit grey herself.
Yeah. So
Um,
very much a Charlie.
a little bit, yes, but is
Yeah.
Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, really grey? Charlie's
I
pretty
mean,
wholesome.
he's pretty gray. I mean, he lied about the fizzy lifting
Oh, he did lie
drinks.
about the fizzy lifting drink, but that was Grandpa Joe's fault, wasn't it? Because he's the real villain.
Yes,
We
yes.
can't blame the 10-year-old, 11-year-old child for
I
something
mean,
that his
we are
95-year-old
Grandpa
grandpa did.
Joe haters here on this channel,
But we're
so
not, are we? Because we're Grandpa Joe lovers. We love Grandpa Joe.
we
We
love to
love to
hate
hate.
Grandpa Joe.
We do. We love to hate Grandpa Joe.
Oh, Jack Albertson.
You wonderful, wonderful
Terrible,
man.
terrible man.
Um, I don't suppose there's a Grandpa Joe alternative in this movie, is there? It's not strictly Willy Wonka,
No, no. There's no
but
not really a
it's
Grandpa Joe.
it's such an interesting movie, such an enjoyable movie. The kind of movie that I really does hope, or I really do hope, gets excellent word of mouth. Because I
Yes, because
genuinely think this is one of my favorite movies of the year.
yes, I mean, I was really disappointed that my theater was so light because this movie was so unique and interesting. While it did have kind of similar familiar themes, it felt very wholly original, and you didn't
Very,
know
very
kind of where
original.
it was going to go. And in a sea of remakes and sequels and legacy sequels and all these
Yeah.
kinds of things that are just kind of regurgitations and readaptations of things, to get kind of a really cool, unique, very interesting in tone in terms of tone typed film is really refreshing. So
It is. And
I really had a lot of fun with this movie, just kind of the ups and downs of it, the darkness and the comedic aspects and all the characters you're really kind of wanting to understand like what's going on with them and Ray
yeah.
Fiennes is so great as well. Um
I mean, to be fair, it's perfect for Ray Fiennes, isn't he? I mean,
yes.
he's great at kind of dark eccentricity. You think
Yes,
of
and
Willy Wonka's kind of a little bit dark, but it's mainly whimsical. Ray Fiennes, there's no whimsy to Ray Fiennes. It's eccentric, but it's
it's
dark and
very
kind of
dark
glaring, and
yes, but he also conveys a bit of sympathy. Like
he does.
yes, he has a little bit of kind of like you see there maybe there's something more there. There's a bit of kindness there
Yes, I
somewhere.
do. I do
Yeah.
always think Ray Fiennes is very charismatic
Yes.
in his darkness because he does excel when he's playing darker characters.
Yeah.
I think, and I do think he's great in it. I think Anya Taylor Joy is great in it. Nicholas Hoult, while he became deeply annoying in this movie. As a
He
character,
played
I
it
think he's
so well,
great.
so good. Maybe
John
he's the Grandpa
Leguizamo,
Joe.
maybe he is John Leguizamo's here, who's kind of funny. He's a little bit of a comedic character, I suppose, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's
But
kind of
he's
doing it
always
up. I
fun.
mean, he's gonna be in that Santa movie, that Violent
Oh, he
Night,
is as well,
coming
isn't
up
he?
as
Yeah, of course
well.
he
So,
is.
yeah,
Well done to Leguizamo. I like John Leguizamo.
it was nice to see Judith Light. If you're a Who's the Boss
Yes.
fan, I feel like I haven't seen her in a little bit.
Yes, I did
So,
recognize. I don't think it was from that, but I did recognize her as somebody I recognized. She's kind of the food critic.
oh no,
Is
no,
it?
no,
Oh
she
no, the
was the
food critic.
wife.
Oh, the one.
Sh-
Ah, I
She
see.
was the wife of the man
The
who,
regulars. The
yes, the
regulars.
the regulars who
Yes.
come all the time.
I
Yeah.
recognized the food critic though. Who was she?
I know she looked familiar, but I couldn't think of what I've seen her in.
And then there's like three um kind of
Dude
techie
bros.
businessy dude bros, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
who are obsessed with money and like they get schooled. They that was quite funny, really.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the tortilla scene is quite. I mean, it's horrible, but it's actually quite funny
Yeah.
in this movie. If you've
Yeah.
seen it, this scene where Ray Fiennes serves them all tacos
Yeah,
and the
Taco
short
Tuesday, and
Taco
his little
Tuesdays.
story that he gives along with the
It's
Taco Tuesday
really
story.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's really horrible. It's like is it the first instance of something really quite dark
Weird.
happening?
Yes, because he tells the story because he's like, I call this course memory, and I'm going to tell you about a memory. And he like starts it really fun, like, we had a memory of Tuesdays being taco night, Taco Tuesday. So he's like very much kind of giving that little whimsy fun, and people chuckle, and then he starts telling kind of this really dark story
Yeah,
that
about
goes
like
along
how
with
he
the
should have
meal.
killed his own father.
Yes.
It's. I should mention his mother is sat in the restaurant as well, like in the
The
corner,
whole
just
time.
getting hammered,
Yeah.
and that's all she does the entire movie because it's all
Yes.
kind of about his obsession with being perfect. He could never achieve that,
Yeah.
and this is the situation. It's a great conceptual movie. It's a great movie in execution.
Yes.
Performance wise, story wise, I think it's
So
really
interesting.
great.
Yes.
Visually is where I think it excels because I love I love the structure of it in terms of the way it's paced and all this business, but it's structured visually as well, where you get the coarse graphics coming on screen, you
Yes,
get the
yes.
zoom ins on the actual cooking itself.
And the food just looks really interesting and great as well. So I'm like, binging with Babish, please do
Oh
an
yeah,
episode on this movie. I want to see
yeah,
you
that'd be an idea.
cook these meals, and
Well, not
recreate
all
these
of them.
dishes.
Not all of them.
Well, not all of them.
Some of
No,
them
no.
are really horrific.
Yes, yes.
It gets
But
very, it's half a horror movie. This let's
yeah,
call it what it is. It is
yes,
half a horror movie.
yes.
It does get very very nasty at times, particularly in the course called The Mess, which I
Yes.
found really shocking. I'll be honest. Which yes, was my first sign to go. Oh, okay, I'm really into
Yes,
this.
but I was getting nervous because I kind of had the sense of where this was going.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I such a big fan of this movie. Please go and watch this movie if you
Go
hadn't.
watch the menu.
If
It's
you, yeah, if you had no
yeah.
intention of watching it, have an intention of watching it, please,
Yes.
because this is honestly one of my favorite movies of the year
Yes.
in terms of just pure enjoyment and quality. I honestly think
Yes.
it's a
It's really well
brilliantly
made.
made
It's
movie.
fun, great performances. Just this kind of great dark comedy. Go
Yeah,
please go watch it. Yeah.
an original. Support these
Mhm.
original weird movies
Yes. Yes,
like
please
this.
do.
We need more mid-budget movies like this
Yes.
because they're often great
Yes.
when they're original. Yes, the menu. What's on the menu? is a lot of weirdness. That's my
Yes.
sign today, by the way. There you go.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful movie. I know that review will be clipped up, I would expect, and put on the channel as well as a
Yes.
separate thing. But Jeannine, should we get now into our Let's Talk? Yeah, so
Yes.
our Let's Talk, we've come up with a couple of food-related movies each we wanted
Yes.
to discuss, that we enjoy, that we think are some of the best food-related movies. And yeah, we like food. I mean, do you like food? What's your favorite
Oh my gosh.
cuisine?
I mean, I do love me some Italian. It's pretty
So
good.
do I. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I can't look past it. I
I
really can't
know.
look
It's really
past it.
good. It's really good.
There's nothing more I know it's quite simple food a lot of the time,
Yeah. But it's
but
so good.
taste-wise, just enjoyment-wise.
Yeah.
You don't
And it's
need
like,
no high concept milk
no,
snow on raw scallops of
of the
braised
sea.
whatever nonsense
Yes. On a rock
on a rock
formation.
with a sprig of natural leaves that we've picked from
Some
the bush
sea foam,
outside. It's
fungus.
made
Yeah.
with sea foam and fungus that might give you hallucinogenic reactions. We don't need any of that. What you need is pasta.
Yes.
It's quite simple. Everybody knows how to make it. If you
Yes.
don't know how to make it, what's going on?
Yeah, it's
It's
hard to mess
very,
up
very
pasta,
easy.
yeah.
Pasta. Yes, I struggle to look past Italian food. I love it in all its kinds. I love the idea of the Italian meal being at least, you have to have at least 2 courses.
Yeah.
At least. This is how it works. An Italian menu is your antipasti, your starters. In fact, it's not, is it? Because you get your bread as well usually. So you have your
No,
bread. You have
not in
you don't
not
get
in the
bread in
menu.
this movie in the
No.
menu. No, you don't actually, do you? You distinctly don't get bread. There's a
Yeah.
whole situation about not getting bread. You get your bread, you get your antipasti, which I always think is the most fun part because you get like a charcuterie board or something like that.
Yes, with your meats and your cheeses and your
Yes.
olives and
Not necessarily your cheeses, but yes, meats and salads and things like this. I
yes.
enjoy, that are always really kind of well made, really well presented, and all this kind of situation. Then you can have your pasta, and then if you
Yeah.
really want, you can have an extra meat thing if you really want, or you have a dessert, and
Oh,
then you have a
yes.
coffee, and it's just a lovely
Nice
structured
little
meal.
yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's why I like
You're making
Italian
me
more than
hungry.
I know. I know, but it's why I like Italian cuisine more than most others, more than any others, really, is because I think of the structure of the meal, that you
Yeah.
go out to a restaurant and have a really kind of structured meal, rather than just say you're going for like some Chinese food, and because Chinese cuisine is basically eat 8 tiny meals throughout the day, which is just like I'm not sitting down to eat that. It's just like oh, here's something to eat. Let's take 2 minutes to eat this and go.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like it's more of a whole kind of experience and event when you
yeah.
have like the different courses. Yeah.
American cuisine. I mean, yeah, sure, burgers, ribs,
Yeah.
chicken wings. We enjoy this. This is good.
Yes. It's good.
These
Good
these are
stuff too.
typical American kind of things.
Yeah.
Seafood, actually,
Oh,
like
I love seafood. Yeah.
fish type stuff.
Mhm.
British cuisine, obviously, is phenomenal.
I mean,
We'll be getting into some of that later in the game.
Trinidadian food is pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah.
as well.
Caribbean curries and all that kind of stuff
Oh
are
my
really, really
gosh,
nice.
my mom's curry, my mom's beef curry is
You go
my
for
all-time
You
favorite
go for
meal.
Indian food, Middle Eastern
Mhm.
food,
Yeah.
North African food. There's a lot of Mexican food. There's a lot of really,
Yes.
really
Food is
good
just
cuisine.
good
Even
in
French.
general.
Even French. I know it's weird. I know it's full of snails and mussels.
Yes.
Um,
Have you had
Neither of
snails?
which, I've ever eaten. No, actually, I've never eaten snails, and
I
I've
was
never
on a
eaten mushrooms.
cruise. I was on a cruise and I had escargot in like a garlic butter.
I just think structure wise, French food is trying to be Italian food, but then it gets weird.
It's
Like it's just not.
Italian food, but weird.
It's just not like there's a hearty richness of kind of a home kind of family warmth to Italian food, and there's just a cold kind of uh, official clinical aspect to French food.
I can see what you mean. But I mean that probably relates to one of your your
It
picks
does actually.
or your
Well, it does. Yes, it
or one
does.
of your favorite food
That's not all
movies.
French food. I do like some French food, certainly. But it does, yes. I mean, do you want me to start with that then, given the fact
Yes,
that it kind of
go
works?
for it.
Because definitely one of the best food movies is Ratatouille.
Yes.
It is purely about food. It's a great, great Pixar movie. I mean, in a world of so many great Pixar movies, you can forget how good Ratatouille is
Yeah.
as a movie.
But
Um,
even the inclusive whole theme of, anyone can cook,
anyone can
Yeah, I
cook.
love that.
It's about the idea of trying,
Mhm.
experimenting with food. If you put the love into it, if you put the kind of passion into it, you can make wonderful, wonderful food that doesn't have to be this fancy thing. It's the antithesis of the menu. In
Yes,
fact, it's
like
probably the same message that the menu kind of does end up having.
yes, but I mean even Linguini, like he's terrible, but like he just has this need to want to cook.
Yeah,
So when he's just like messing with the soup and doing all these awful things to it, it's this inherent desire to just cook.
just throw stuff together. I mean, my favorite type of cooking when I cook is throw random things in a pan,
Yeah.
wash it all together. And just kind of see what happens, see what comes of it.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
love just kind of like thinking, okay, these are the flavors I know are gonna go good together. So I'm just gonna
yeah,
throw this stuff in and see what happens,
yeah.
you know?
It's the most interesting way of doing it, and Ratatouille exemplifies this.
Yes.
And Ratatouille does exemplify the kind of it doesn't take a genius to be able to cook things, and we should relish hearty food like
Yeah.
Ratatouille.
Yes.
Which is very nice, actually. And I do quite like ratatouille. It's kind of it's hearty, isn't it? It's French food trying to be Italian and possibly succeeding in being a little bit kind of getting the warmth there, getting the you know comfort food
Yeah.
aspect of that is kind of ratatouille,
Yeah.
as opposed to all the other fancy stuff that what's his face enjoys. What's his name? What's the stupid guy's name in Ratatouille? I've forgotten now.
I want Anton Ego.
Anton, yes. That he just likes. He'd like the island of Hawthorne in the menu. He'd like that. He'd be into that.
Yes, but
From
I
when he
mean, in the
realizes
end,
that
he
he
liked the
likes
kind of very
ratatouille.
most
Yeah,
simplistic peasant dish is
he
kind of what
does,
it's
and this is the
referred
good
to.
thing. This is the good thing. We like peasant dishes. Peasant
Yeah.
dishes are the best because they're the heartiest. They're the ones that feel like food the most. And they
Yes.
feel like, oh, this is actual food. This is not some
Yeah.
sort of event. This isn't some sort
Yeah.
of experience. This is just food. This is food
Yeah.
that's enjoyable. And Ratatouille does exemplify all this stuff. And it's also a great movie. It's a beautiful
Yes.
movie to look
Mhm.
at. It's a fun little story.
Yeah.
It makes everybody like rats when everybody was afraid of rats because they'd all watched Willard and Ben.
Yeah. Those that would turn you off. So yeah, just do a triple feature. Watch those and then
Yeah,
watch
I watched
Ratatouille, and
Ratatouille.
you'll love rats again.
And you need to love rats. You need to
Yeah.
love rats. We shouldn't be afraid of rats. Although I would like to see a cook-off between Remy and Ben. the rat,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
because Ben the rat would
I don't
just
think
cook
Ben was
his
doing
own
much cooking.
kind.
Yeah, I don't think Ben was doing much cooking in those movies.
People
Yeah.
and cooked people, raw people.
I want to see Ben pull at that little boy's hair to make him cook.
That would have been great. Imagine if in Ben it would have
Oh my
actually
gosh.
been very Ratatouille-ish,
Yeah,
and
he's just
Ben would have sat
controlling
on
him.
top of Lee Montgomery's little head and had him go around killing
Oh
people.
my god. Sorry, I wanna laugh, but, like, I have a bit of a cold, so I'm kind of like, I don't wanna laugh because it's gonna make me cough.
That would be brilliant. I would love that. I would
Oh
love
my
that
god.
so much. I think it does, Ratatouille does also speak to the kind of fanciness of cooking as well, and how we shouldn't look at it like that. Don't be snooty, don't turn your nose up and be fancy and French about it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I'm being offensive to the French. I don't mean to be. I apologize. It's the British in me. I apologize.
Yeah. I think it's just inherently in
It
you.
is. It unfortunately is. It's racism, Jeannine. I'll admit, but it's inherent, built-up cultural racism that is just there. That was a joke. That was a joke. Relax, French people, please. I like France. I've been to France. The French people that I have met and actually spoken to are
We're
perfectly nice
nice.
people. Thank you. Don't come for me.
Yes.
But there's a certain stereotype.
Yes,
And
there
look,
is.
I am more than capable of. In fact, I have done in the past, ordered like a 2 foot long, not ordered, but like bought a 2 foot long baguette and
And
just
just
ate that. Just walked around eating that.
eating a
Just
baguette.
pure baguette
Oh
bread
my
with nothing
gosh.
on it, nothing with it.
That is very French.
It is. I was wearing a stripy jumper and had a little mustache at the time as well.
Oh
No,
my
that was
gosh. Were you wearing a
stereotypical. I
beret and
apologize. Wearing a
and
beret.
riding
Yes,
riding a little bicycle with
riding
a
a little bike,
basket
saying
with
"ooh
your
la
bread?
la."
Oh my gosh.
No, I wasn't doing that. That was a joke. That was a joke. But no, Ratatouille is honestly, it's a
It's
wonderful
great.
food
It's a
movie.
great food movie, yes, and the food looks great, like
It does. It does.
yes.
Beautiful. Yes. Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, well, speaking of peasants,
Peasants.
I mean, I did mention this movie a bit earlier in my comparisons to the menu, so obviously I'm choosing Willy Wonka
Yeah,
and
I
the
mean, yeah.
Chocolate Factory.
Let's call it the buckets are
Uh,
modern peasants, aren't they? I
yes,
suppose
I
that they
mean, their
are.
cabbage soup, that wasn't looking too hot,
Cabbage
but I
soup done
mean
in the same water that they wash the clothes in.
right? I'm sure. Yeah, when the mom's just washing all those clothes, just throw a couple heads of cabbage in there, Charlie.
Oh, for God's
Oh
sake.
my god.
I think there is something very kind of peasant food about cabbage as well. I think
Yes,
cabbage is
it's
just
very
so
poor kind of
inherently
ingredient. But
hearty, isn't it?
we
It's very
move on
hearty.
up. We move on up at the factory, and I
Oh yeah.
absolutely love the scene where he kind of just lets them go loose in the kind of big kind of entry where the chocolate fountain is, and um, they're just eating, whipped cream from mushroom heads, and
Yeah.
beating candy from trees, and so I
Getting sucked
absolutely
into big chocolate pipes
yes, I mean
because we
until it gets dark, that's just such a
till it
kind
gets
of
really twisted.
yes, it's such a magical scene of just,
It is.
a kid's dream of, just a whole kind of world of candy, and how they kind of set it up, and you see things that exist in the real world, but it's a candy version.
Do you remember?
Uh,
Do they still have Wonka bar? Do they still sell like Wonka bars in the
mhm,
real world? They did at
yeah,
one point. I remember.
yeah, they do.
I'm not sure I've seen them here for years. Not Wonka
Yeah,
bars. I've seen like Wonka nerds and that sort of stuff.
yeah, I think they
Um,
still have Wonka bars, I wanna
but
say.
I do remember getting Wonka bars at a certain time in my actual life.
Yes. So we can't actually pinpoint kind of a region of cuisine for Willy Wonka
No,
because
certainly
it
not.
takes place in this British, German,
We know full well
Swedishburg,
it takes place
Denmarken,
in,
Denmarkenville town.
yes, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, England, America. We know full well it takes place there.
Yeah, because you got all these different accents, and the look of it is very much kind of like a Denmark kind of place.
It is.
And, Charlie is wholly American, and you get
Some
British
of them are
people and
British.
people seeming with like, Swedish accents and German accents, and the teacher's British, and like,
Yeah. No, it,
yeah,
it was filmed in Germany. I do think
okay,
it was filmed in
yeah.
Germany.
So we can't
Um,
pinpoint the, origins of the cuisine too
Certainly
much
not.
as we
There's no
could with
cuisine in it.
Ratatouille.
There's no
No, I
cuisine
mean
in Willy Wonka. It's just chocolate.
you do get the gum.
The
That's a
gum,
whole
yes,
deal.
okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Um
But the only other real food apart from confectionery is Mrs. Bucket's cabbage water.
and you get Mr. Salt's nuts,
Oh, Mr.
and
Salt's nuts, of course, yes.
you get Um, oh, Mr. Gloops eating the sausages and
Oh, he
like the
is, yes, he
interviewing,
is,
and he
of
just
course
takes
he
a
is.
bite out of the microphone.
Of
Like
course he is,
he
of
doesn't
course
even
he is.
realize he eats the microphone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
wonderful. We People know how much we love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Yes, I
Factory,
had
Janine.
to. I had to throw it in there. It is technically a food
It
movie,
is.
so
It is one of our
I would have
very, very
loved to
favorite
have
movies.
that food flavored, that fruit flavored wallpaper. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I think the idea of the gum was pretty good until, the final, dessert stage, but,
Oh, it's of
being able
course.
to eat some gum that feels like, hot tomato soup is running down your throat, like, it's
Well, it's
kinda
alright if you
cool.
like tomato soup.
Yeah.
I don't really like
No,
tomato
you're
soup,
not a
to be
fan.
honest with you.
You're not a
I
fan of
don't mind
tomato soup?
tomatoes. I quite like tomatoes, but not tomato soup.
Not
Like,
tomato
obviously, I
soup.
like tomato because it's Italian and, you put it on pasta and all this business. I don't really like tomato soup.
No, I don't like Campbell's tomato soup like that. I like a creamy tomato bisque or something kind of a little
Okay.
more
Get
fancy.
fancy with it,
Yes.
yeah. Do you have a
Yes.
sprig of something on top of it as well?
Yes, but like Campbell's tomato soup is literally like just hot V8. Jeez. I don't like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's just
Yes.
all, while we're on Willy Wonka still, let's just all remind everybody of the fact that the Candyman nearly decapitates somebody in Willy Wonka and the
Yes,
Chocolate Factory.
yes. And they get a loaf of bread, and that's like a big banquet for them,
Yes, it
and
certainly is.
they only usually have cabbage water because they're paying for Grandpa Joe's damn tobacco ass.
All the money goes on Grandpa Joe's tobacco addiction. Nobody else has,
No,
needs.
no, nobody else has vices that they need to, indulge in. They all just sleep in that bed together and stay
You know,
quiet. But Grandpa Joe has gotta have his tobacco.
Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina are so unproblematic.
Right?
And
They're
then
so chill.
Joe's just a state of a human being.
Yeah,
What's
but
he doing?
Josephine, you need to get him get
Josephine
his
needs to
ass in
pull
gear.
her foot out and kick him.
She needs to pull her foot out of Georgina's ass.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh my god. And put it into Joe's to get him
Put it
in
into
gear.
Joe's, yeah.
Put him
Yeah.
get him in line. Yeah.
I mean, who pruned Joe's mustache if he couldn't leave the bed?
I don't
As well, we
know. Well,
should think
obviously
about
we know
this.
he can leave the bed if the deal's enticing enough
No, well,
to
yeah.
get his ass up. Oh my gosh.
Joe. Sing and dance, can't you now, Joe?
I was worried about bringing this up because I knew we were gonna go on a Grandpa Joe hate tangent,
It's the
but
same as it always is. It's the same as it
uh,
always is whenever Willy Wonka gets brought
yes,
up.
and I'm sorry. I have so many apologies for my awful voice right now, but
No,
um,
no, do not worry. Colds are colds. It's November. It's
yeah,
understandable. This is the time
yes,
of colds, isn't it? I
yes,
had
but
one as well the other week.
yeah. So yes, I had to bring up Willy Wonka because just of the comparisons to the menu, and
Yeah,
it's a movie I absolutely love. And
it's a wonderful, wonderful movie,
yes,
obviously.
very
Yes.
imaginative when it comes to food.
The other one I wanted to bring up actually is a little bit out there, I suppose,
Oh, okay.
because it's a movie that's an abridged version of a TV series. It's The Trip that I think was released in about 2006 or 8 or something like that. Or maybe that was the series. There was
Okay,
2
what's
series of it.
this?
There was The Trip and there was The Trip to Italy. And this is Steve Coogan, who you'll recognize in
Yes,
things
yeah.
if you're American, and Rob Brydon, who's a Welsh comedian, playing heightened versions of themselves, um, going across Britain, eating at restaurants, and doing a what is essentially going to be a kind of series of food reviews, series of restaurant reviews, like
Okay.
almost testing out for a documentary series, basically.
Mm,
So it's based in reality. You could look at it and think it was
it's like a real
absolutely factual,
documentary.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fictionalized. They're playing heightened versions of themselves. There's an actual story going on, but it's very, very funny.
Okay,
It's
yes, no, I
very,
really do
very
like
dry.
Steve Coogan's kind of brand of humor. He's very dry,
He's very dry.
very straight, and you did show me a little clip that
I
was really
did.
hilarious. It
I
was
did. Yeah.
hilarious.
It's if you've ever seen Steve Coogan's Michael Caine impression, it's where that comes from, this kind of series, and then this movie that it was kind of shortened to be. But it's really, really funny, really, really dry. You are just sat with the two of them, who are good friends in real life. That's why they kind of made this
Yeah,
thing together.
kind of silly thing, yeah.
Um, just having kind of conversations over food, and there's a focus on the food. You always get told what the food is.
Okay.
There's conversations about what they're eating, and this kind of situation. And they are traveling around, going to different restaurants in Britain in this first one. And I don't think the trip to Italy, which was the second season, was made, or the second series was made into a movie as well. I don't think that was made into a movie as well. But the first was shortened down to the movie. Um, but obviously, the second one being the trip to Italy is the
Yeah,
exact same situation, but in Italy. So the
Italy,
food is obviously
obviously.
speaks to me a lot.
Oh, yes.
Um, I don't think it's probably as I think the food's obviously nicer. I think the kind of locations are obviously
Yeah.
nicer. It's all very Amalfi Coasty and,
Ew.
Capri and all this
Yeah.
business. And it's very fancy. And Steve Coogan's wearing linen pants a lot. Um, but I think the funnier one is the British one,
Okay.
or is the one in Britain, because I think I think it's a little bit more. They saw the success and popularity of that first trip, and then thought, "Oh, let's do one in Italy as well."
Okay.
And it's just, I don't think it was quite as successful as an actual show.
Okay.
But really, I do think you should watch The Trip. I think it's very, very
No, that
funny.
sounds really funny. No, just even that Michael Caine kind of clip you showed me was pretty hilarious, and I do like Steve Coogan. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I like that.
Yes. It's not one you would
Alright.
necessarily think of when you think of
Yeah.
food movies, but
No, so, like, I definitely had a hard time kind of picking a second one because there are a lot of food movies I love. I mean, there's, Tortilla Soup, which is kind of a Latina, kind of, female-led film. Um, there's Chef, obviously, that I
yeah.
mentioned earlier. even something like Spanglish. It has kind of a
Okay.
food at its core, soul food. If you're kind of
Yeah.
looking for your black food movies, but I kept the theme very similar to my first film, and I'm gonna go with Chocolat.
Chocolat. Okay.
Yes. Just a really kind of cute story, very sweet story. This woman, she's inherently kind of a traveler. It's kind of her heritage. Her and her daughter, kind of when the wind changes, they move to a new place, they settle there for a while, and then when the wind changes, it's time for them to move on. It's something kind of her ancestors have done for years. So, like, even if you have a settled life, like, I think her I don't know if it was her grandmother, but one of her kind of ancestors, uh, settled with a man and married him and had a daughter, but then, it was time for her to kind of move on. So she took her daughter, left her husband, and moved on, and
Okay.
just constant travelers. So, this woman and her daughter, Juliette Binoche and her daughter, they kind of settle in this little town. I believe it's also in France. And it's a very religious town, and they're kind of in the middle of this kind of big fasting. Uh, and she opens this chocolate shop, and so she's trying to sell her wares, and everyone's kind of, Alfred Molina is kind of like the head, like, mayor of the town, so he sees her as very sinful that she's opening uh, this chocolate shop during Lent when everyone's trying to
Yeah.
fast, and so she's kind of seen as the sinner, and but like people are very tempted, and so it's kind of plays into people's kind of temptations and desires, and you
Okay.
know she's very good at reading people and kind of what chocolates would fit kind of their personalities, and it kind of opens people up, a little bit more, and kind of opens up passions for people depending on what they
Oh,
get. And
I should
um,
watch this.
it's very good. Um, so you see her kind of preparing the chocolates, and they just look so pretty and delicious, and she even ends up cooking like a whole meal. So we see her kind of cook a meal and actually using kind of chocolate in the meal for sauces and things, with meats and things like that. It just looks so good, and I love chocolate, so seeing all the kind of her making these little delicacies and truffles and things,
Okay.
and there's a scene where she sets up this kind of whole beautiful window of chocolates, and someone cannot hold back on their temptations and kind of ends up
Um,
ends up devouring the whole window of goodies.
that's not
Um
appropriate. We can't be doing
yes.
that. Would make you sick. That would make you
Yes.
very, very sick. We
Yes.
can't be doing
But
that.
if you've
Too
been
much
fasting
chocolate.
for a long time for Lent, then
Yes,
yes. So great
but it's too much.
performances, great, really fun story. Yeah, and she just kind of has to kind of trust that she's bringing something to this town despite kind of being shunned at first, and then people kind
Yeah.
of open up to her a little bit more, and yeah, so I
Okay.
love Chocolat. It's very
This is, yes, I
delightful.
should definitely watch this. It's a movie I've heard of, but I should definitely
Yeah.
watch this.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of devouring all the chocolate sequence sounds like what's exactly going to be happening for most people during the month of December, which
Yes,
which
yes,
usually
that's the
happens,
time.
doesn't it?
Yes,
When
yes.
everybody just goes like, "Oh yeah, sure, it's the
Oh,
holidays,
it's the
it's
holidays, so I can
Christmas,
eat, and then,
let's
of
eat
course, in America
everything."
here, we're getting Thanksgiving as well right before that,
Exactly.
so,
Yes,
it's the season to indulge,
it
so,
certainly is.
yeah.
Speaking of though chocolate, so what's your favorite type of chocolate?
I love dark chocolate.
So do I. I like dark chocolate as well.
Yes, milk chocolate, like I used to be, love milk chocolate. I like it
Can't
in
eat too
certain
much of it
things.
at all.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so I like it in certain things, like a Reese's peanut butter cup or something. But now that they actually make dark chocolate Reese's peanut butter
Okay.
cups, so yes, I do prefer dark chocolate. I just like the taste better. I think milk chocolate's a little too sweet. I like kind of the little bit of bitterness you get from dark chocolate, and doesn't have the milk, and you
Yeah, and
know,
dark
um
chocolate thankfully also doesn't mess up my insides like milk chocolate
yes, like
kind of does.
yes. Yes, and it's seen to be maybe a little bit healthier because it's,
I
more
suppose so. It's
natural.
purer, isn't it? It's
Yes.
purer.
Yes. And I love dark chocolate covered almonds. That's kind of,
Okay. Mint
yes, so
chocolate. I like mint chocolate.
yes, that's good as
If it's
well.
got a little kind of injection of mint in
Yes,
the dark
dark
chocolate, I
chocolate
love it.
bark with a little bit of maybe sea salt and
No,
almonds
I
in
don't like
it,
the salt. If there's one thing I
No?
can't stand, it's the salt on chocolate. Salted caramel and all that. No, I can't. It's
I can
horrible to
do
me.
if it's a little bit because I found some bark that has, like, a little bit in there, so, like, you'll get a little and I actually don't mind it,
I
especially
really
if
can't.
if it's with nuts as well. I think it works. I think it's a good balance of flavors, but yes, no, dark chocolate, I could just
Yeah.
eat a dark
Okay.
chocolate bar. So good.
No, I'm glad we're in
Dark chocolate
somewhat
truffles,
somewhat
so good.
agreement there. Truffles are very rich, though, aren't they? I mean, they're
Yes. I could
incredibly
eat
so.
one truffle with the,
Yeah, you
ganache
can't eat a
inside
lot.
and
You will throw up.
no. Yes, no, I could eat one good truffle and be good
I did
for
once throw up because I ate too many truffles.
well, yes, no, I'll get a dark chocolate thing and I'll, like, eat a couple bites and then put it away.
Yeah,
And,
it's all you
Mr.
need. You don't need to.
Mr. Machine is like, "You wanted this thing, why aren't you eating it?" And I'm like, "'Cause I have to, savor it, and, like, it's too
Yes,
much to eat
like,
in one sitting."
relax. I am
Yes,
eating it.
I am
It's just
enjoying it
taking
in
me a week.
I'll get, like, a tub like, a little gelato kind of individual size pint of, dark chocolate ice cream with dark chocolate chips, and I'll take a few
Oh,
bites and put it back, and then come back a couple days later, the
if
next
it was
week, and,
if
you
if it
know
was dairy free, I'm into that.
Yes, yes. So, when it's something dark chocolate and decadent, I will definitely savor it and, because yeah, I cannot eat a dark chocolate thing,
Yeah.
like, all in one sitting.
Well, just tell him if he wants to indulge in all of his things quickly, then
Yes.
he needs to savour things.
Yes, but he gives me a lot of crap for that, but, he
There's no
just
need for
doesn't
that.
understand. He doesn't understand.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But yes, there we go. I suppose chocolate, chocolat as a movie,
Yes. Yes.
and there we go. I suppose for Let's Talk, it's definitely going to be a shorter episode of Monday Madness today. It's not necessarily a problem, though, is it, Jeannine?
No,
Certainly
no,
not.
not at all.
Food, movies. We do have quite a fun
Yes,
game,
because
actually.
we just wanna get out of here and go eat something.
I mean, I'm very hungry now. I will admit, I'm
Yeah.
extremely hungry.
Yes.
So why did we decide that this was a good topic for the show?
I mean,
I don't know.
the menu
The menu
movie.
did it. The
Yeah.
menu did it for us. Blame
Yes.
Ray Fiennes. Um, we do have a fun game today.
Yeah.
This is a weird foods game. We're calling it "What the hell's this food?"
Yes.
Because I have a list of. I've actually put 6 on there because I had to put
Oh,
6 on there. I know
okay.
one's going to be like a bonus one,
Okay.
but I've got 6 British foods that Jeannine has to try and guess what the hell they are.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I have 5, which I guess maybe I can find 6, Trinidadian foods
I'll stick with
that
5. I'll do the 6 as just something I
a
found
fun
out that I didn't
bonus.
even know about myself.
Okay. All right. So yes, my family is from Trinidad. I grew up eating Trinidad foods because my mother would cook us these things. Some things I did enjoy, some things I did not. So,
Oh
but
dear.
just very inherently, in my memories of food. So
I
yeah,
might
they
come
they have
across
some
as
they have some interesting names that you. So I'm very
yeah.
curious to see if you'll even kind of get a glimmer of a guess.
Thing is, what unfortunately this is going to do is just make me out to be a complete novice when it comes to Caribbean food, because I just have kind of one image of the entire cuisine, and I just think this is
Yes,
because it's
I
the
think
only
you
thing
do.
I've really eaten from, these countries. I really should go, shouldn't I? I really should go to,
You
like,
should.
Trinidad
You
and
should
actually indulge in the food
try.
there. Um, yeah. If I wanted to do that, because that's the best way of actually learning a different cuisine other than what you're massively familiar with, isn't it? Is
Yes.
going to the place itself.
Yes. I mean, Trinidad used to be a British colony, so I
It
mean, you
did.
should know something about it.
It did. Well, they'll hate me though, won't they? This is the problem. They'll call me a colonizer, and they've got every right to.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like a well, you're also Canadian, so
Yes.
Canadian food as well. I mean, poutine,
I know. I
very
mean,
typically Canadian. Just
yes.
is it cuisine? Fries with cheese curds and gravy,
Yes.
but
It's
it's so good.
gorgeous. It's very good.
It's
It's
so
very
good.
good.
I
Yeah.
love it. And every time I go to Canada, I love it even more.
Yes. It's
And
so
I'm looking
good.
forward to having it again in February. Um, I've got that to come. But yes,
Yes.
Trinidadian food, British food. Who wants to go first?
You go first. I'll
Okay,
guess.
I will ask first. I will ask first.
Yes.
Okay, Jeannine, can you tell me what Toad in the Hole is?
Toad in the hole.
Toad in the Hole. Can you tell me what that is? I will give you the benefit of the doubt with all of these as well.
Toad in the hole. I don't know. Is it something green? Is that where the toad comes in?
It is not anything particularly green. No.
Okay. So like eggy in a basket, like from V for Vendetta.
Eggy in a
Yeah.
basket.
Yes.
What is eggy in a basket? Is that just egg in a basket?
No, it's egg. Like you cut a hole out of a piece of toast and toast it in the pan, and then crack an egg in the hole of the toast that you made.
Oh, okay.
Eggy in a hat. Eggy in a basket.
That's an interesting presentation. But no, it's not that. It's not that. It's certainly not a
Okay.
breakfast food.
Okay. Well, toad in a hole.
Toad in the Hole.
Yeah, no.
No idea at
Those are
all.
my guesses. No, I don't
Okay.
know.
Toad in the Hole is basically sausages cooked into a giant Yorkshire pudding.
How do you get that name from that?
I've never known. I've never known, but that is Toad in the Hole.
Interesting.
So Yorkshire pudding is also. I mean, how do you describe a Yorkshire pudding? Actually, what's it even made out of? I don't even know. It's just Yorkshire pudding. It's not
Yeah.
pudding
No,
at
it's like
all.
that. It's like a bread bowl almost.
Oh, yeah, kind of. It's like a hard or semi-hard kind of. What's it even made out of? I don't know.
Is it kind of
Starchy,
like a
kind of.
it's like a little bit flaky, isn't it?
Yeah, you put it on a
Almost
roast dinner.
croissant-ish.
It's not a
Yeah.
croissant.
No, I just mean in terms of like a flaky kind
In
of
terms of
bread, not
yes,
like a
I suppose,
yeah.
but it's not bread.
I mean,
Google it. Google it. I can't really describe what a Yorkshire pudding is. I just know I like them. And Toad in
yes.
the Hole, yes, is basically sausages in a
In
giant
that.
Yorkshire pudding.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna start you off easy.
Okay.
What is and this is like an Americanized
Oh God,
Trinidadian
it's not
thing.
going to be easy for me. None of this is
No,
going to be
it's
easy
gonna be
for me.
easy for you.
Okay.
What is macaroni pie?
Macaroni pie.
Yes.
So I assume this is macaroni in a pie. Is this mac and cheese but baked?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a little more firm than like your traditional mac and cheese, so it's not super creamy.
Yeah.
It's more toasty at the top. There's egg in it, so it binds
Okay.
a little tighter. So
Okay.
yes, macaroni pie. My mom would make that all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's basically bread. Baked pudding made from batter of eggs, flour, milk, and water.
Okay. Fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds very kind of cheesy and dairy and something that would mess with Morgan's insides.
Yeah, it's just, but it's like they bake it because it's from a batter, so it's not
Okay.
like a dough,
Okay.
but it's like dough elements, but it's in a more probably a wet batter, and then they bake it and it fluffs up like that.
Nice. Okay.
So
Did
that's
you
what your
enjoy
York.
this then? Was this something that
That's
your
what your
mother made?
Yorkshire. No, I'm telling you, that's what Yorkshire pudding is.
Oh, that's what Yorkshire pudding is.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But yes, no, macaroni pie is basically just like a baked mac and cheese, but it's more firm and not as creamy. Yes, the cheese is more toasty on the top. You cut it out and it kind of pretty much holds its shape. um, yes,
Okay.
I would put
Okay.
ketchup on it and pretend it was brains.
Brains.
Yes,
But you enjoyed it. This was
yes,
an
yes,
enjoyable thing. Okay.
yes.
Well, Jeannine, can you tell me what bubble and squeak is?
um,
That reaction would say no.
Bubble and squeak. I've heard of that. Sounds
Yes.
familiar. Is it another sausage dish?
No. No.
Huh.
No. It's not sausages. Although Britain and sausages kind of
This
go hand in
is
hand, don't
very,
they? Really.
yeah, very common. Oh, I've heard of this. Is it beans?
No, not really beans. No.
Why? I've heard of this before.
I would say bubble and squeak is what you would consider a peasant dish. And I think when we say peasant dishes, we're not like looking down on them. It's just like traditionally low class,
Yeah.
15th century people would eat this
Bubble and
because it
squeak.
was easy.
Yeah. I've heard of this before.
Bubble and squeak. I kind of like the name of it, considering what it is. It like sounds way
Re-
nicer than
Then
what I think it is.
I don't know. Is it some kind of like grits type thing? I don't
No,
know.
it's not grits. If
Okay.
I remember what grits is, because I don't really know what what's grits. Is it like porridge? Um,
Yes. Yes. But
okay,
it's you can make it more savory.
okay. Now,
Butter
bubble
and
and squeak is basically you just want to fry together potatoes and cabbage.
oh,
That is
okay.
bubble and squeak.
Oh. Yeah, why does it have such an awful name?
It's got that's the English version as well, actually. The Scottish version, here's one for you, is what the hell's the stupid thing called? The Scottish version of what is essentially bubble and squeak, which I suppose adds onion. You put like onion in it as well, but it's frying mainly potatoes and cabbage. We're talking about here. Is
Okay.
called Rumble de Thumps,
What?
which I assume
Rumble
that's
de
how you
pumps?
pronounce it.
What?
Like one word, rumble, de, so rumbledy thumps.
That sounds like a little kid's song.
It does. It sounds like
Rumbledy thumps.
Rumpelstiltskin,
Rumbledy thumps.
rumbledy thumps,
Oh my
which
gosh.
is essentially the Scottish border version of bubble and squeak. Essentially,
Okay.
I'm
All
sure that'll
right.
get me probably a lot of hate, but it's not the
That's
same. But it's essentially there's the same ingredients.
okay.
Yes, there you go.
Morgan,
Yes.
what is roti?
Oh no, I thought that was Indian. Or am I thinking of something else? I don't know. I don't know. I've heard of it. I've heard of that as well. I have. Unless I'm thinking of something that is Indian. Roti. Beef. No, it doesn't have to be any specific meat, does it? It's meat.
No, not
It's not
meat.
meat.
No.
It's something fried.
I mean,
Something
yeah.
bready.
Mm,
I don't know why. I'm just picturing a spring roll for some reason, and it's just not. It's just
a
not a
spring
spring roll.
roll. can't make me laugh.
Is it soup? I don't know.
Are you giving up?
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, it's basically like a flatbread, like a
Flatbread.
tortilla. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
That
There's a
can just be
special
anything?
so it's like a tortilla. It ends up kind of looking like a tortilla, but it's much more, um, kind of floury, a little bit
Also,
more
it's
airy.
just the bread
Yes.
itself.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So you can tear it off and eat your curry with it. So, yes,
Okay.
I think they do have, Indian rotis as well, just like they have Indian
Ah,
curries and
okay.
Caribbean curries. But yes, my mom had a whole roti pan that she would make it,
Okay.
you can make your own roti, and it's very
Could you
much
could
more
you put anything in it? Could you, like, cook anything into it? Or was it
I mean,
just purely
you
the bread?
could it's like a flatbread, so like a round
Yeah.
circular bread, like a tortilla, and you could put, your curry in it or something.
No, I
So,
mean, like, would you cook anything into it? Like, would you make a cheesy roti
I
or,
mean, I
like,
guess you could, but I never had any fancy
meaty
roti
roti?
meaty roti. I mean, I guess you could put herbs and things in it,
Yeah.
but no, it's pretty much basically,
Okay.
yeah, just a, baked or, cooked flatbread on like,
Okay.
it's like this
Okay.
big kind of round, flat, like cast iron kind of flat skillet kind of thing that you'd cook it on.
Nice. I mean, yes, I
Yes.
like flatbreads, so yeah, I
Yes, it's a
like
little
this.
more floury and has a more texture than a tortilla and a
Okay.
little more
Nice.
air, kind of air bubbles in it, and yeah,
Nice. Okay. Well,
yes.
Janine, can you tell me what Welsh rarebit is?
See, that sounds like a meat.
It does sound like a meat.
I'm gonna say it's some kind of roast.
Just roast meat.
Yes.
It's you would think, and I always thought it was like some sort of meat dish. It really, really isn't. Welsh rarebit is essentially melted cheese on toast with mustard.
What?
Yeah. It's made in a specific way, but it's essentially a grilled cheese sandwich.
Okay. Why
Pretty
does it have
much.
such a fancy name?
Or maybe not a sandwich, because you don't actually have, like,
It's
the
like
top
open
layer.
faced. It's like an open
It's
faced
cheese on
grilled
toast,
cheese.
basically.
So
Cheese
just
melted
say
on
that.
toast.
So just say that.
Welsh rarebit.
Just say that.
No
Cheese
rabbits
on
in
toast.
sight. It's not rabbit, which
I
I
heard like
always thought it
rare
was.
bit, like a
Yeah,
rare.
you can also call it Welsh rabbit. Like, you can
Okay.
pronounce it like that. But I don't even know if it's
Very
Welsh, I think it
confusing.
is.
It's not even
But I couldn't
Welsh.
tell you if it was Welsh or not,
No,
because you know what names of things are like.
Yes.
Could be anything. Okay.
Morgan. What are doubles?
Doubles.
Yeah.
Just doubles.
Mhm.
So it's two of something. I mean, it could be anything, this. Doubles. Right, okay. My guess would be two. Uh, so you get the bottom half of two bell peppers,
You really just okay.
and you have two of them, and,
Mhm.
and you put them next to each other, and then it's essentially stuffed bell peppers, but there's two of them. So you could put anything in it: onions, meats, herbs,
I
spices.
really am appreciating your creativity on this one.
But there's simply two of them, so that's why it's called doubles. If it's just one, it can't be. It's just a stuffed pepper.
I really appreciate your creativity, Morgan.
What is it?
It's essentially like a fried flatbread with
More
um
flatbread.
yes, again, with curried chickpeas in it. So like and then you eat
Okay.
it kind of like a taco. So it's like a small
Okay.
piece of like a fried flatbread. So it's like almost a roti, but it's fried and
And it's
then you
hard.
put no, it's not hard.
Oh, it's not
It's like
hard.
like a soft taco.
Okay.
And then you put your curried chickpeas in it and then kind of fold it up and eat it
So it's
like you would eat.
essentially hummus and pita bread.
No, it's like whole chickpeas.
Oh, the whole
Whole
okay.
chickpeas cooked in curry, so they're softened and cooked. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds nice, actually.
Mhm.
I'm so hungry. All of this sounds so nice.
Yes. Yes, doubles are definitely something I actually remember eating when I was in Trinidad when I was, like, 4. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I haven't had
Okay.
doubles in a minute, so
I like this. This is Morgan's Caribbean cuisine journey. Will have to take
yes.
place at some point.
Yes.
Now, something a little closer to my actual home here,
Mhm.
not like exactly here. Jeannine, can you tell me what is in a Lancashire hot pot?
I mean, you could put a lot of things in a hot pot.
No. What is in a Lancashire hot pot? And what signifies a Lancashire hot pot?
Um, a Lancashire hot pot. I'm gonna
Lancashire, so Lancashire.
Lancashire.
So think of
Okay,
Lancaster, but Lancashire.
I'm gonna say it's like a cheese fondue.
No. It's not a dessert.
A cheese fondue.
No.
Cheese fondue's not a dessert.
Well, fondue sounds desserty.
Well, I mean, there's a chocolate fondue, but there's also a cheese
No.
fondue.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
Melted cheese in a
No, no,
pot.
no, no, no,
You
no,
dip things in it.
no. It's essentially lamb. It's essentially lamb stew,
Okay.
but it's I say you put lamb, onion, carrot, but the signifier is you top it almost pie-ish with sliced potato.
Oh. So
So
it's
it's
almost like
basically
a
like
shepherd's
lamb.
pie, but it's not mashed
No,
potatoes on
it's
top?
closer to a stew. It's thick though. It's not like soupy.
Okay.
But it's topped. Its signifier to be a Lancashire hot pot is the topped with sliced potatoes.
Okay.
So it's very hearty, very kind of comfort, very
Okay.
good stuff for a good cold November day like today.
Oh, that sounds yummy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know
Yeah, see, I'm
we like
failing.
meat, vegetable, and potato in Britain. You know
Yes.
that, don't you? So
Yes. When I was there, I got lots of stews and things. When I was in Ireland, I got lots of
yeah,
stews and meat pies and kinds of things like that.
yeah.
Like pub food. Pub food's good.
Pub food's
Um,
good when it's done well. Pub food's really horrible when it's done
it's
really
done bad.
horribly.
Yes, but I had nothing but good pub food when I was in
Good.
Ireland and in the UK. Um, Morgan,
Yes.
what
Is this
is
the
co
last one? No.
this is my last one.
Oh, this is your last one.
Yeah,
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. I had macaroni pie, roti, doubles. Oh no, this isn't my last one.
No, I didn't think it was. Okay, go.
Um, what is kalaloo?
No. It's that volcano in Hawaii.
I mean,
It's that alcoholic beverage. No, that's Kahlua. Meaty. Is it meaty?
no, it's not meaty.
Spicy beef. No.
Why do you think everything is spicy beef?
Spicy chicken. No. What? Say it again.
Kalaloo.
Oh, vegetable-ish.
I
Is it
mean,
desserty?
no.
No. Is it hearty vegetable fry thing?
What?
I don't know.
You're on the right track.
Okay.
It is a vegetable stew.
Okay.
So it's like cooked down greens and okra, and then you kind of blend it up. So it's like this kind of all green kind of stew. I did
Okay.
not like kalaloo because my mom would
It
put
was
lots
green.
of okra. She would put
Okay.
lots of okra in it, and when you blended it up, okra is kind of slimy when you cook it.
Ah, okay.
So when you would kind of scoop it up, it would be like, yeah, it would be
Like
kind of
slimy,
like
almost
a
pooey.
slimy, kind of almost mucusy looking
Oh god, that's
consistency.
horrendous.
So I mean, I just as a little kid and my mom making that, I wouldn't
Yeah,
eat it. So,
I can see
having it
why.
as an adult, it tastes good, but the consistency and the texture is just not for me. So kalaloo was
Yeah.
never something I liked, but it's definitely Trinidadian kind of staple
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Janine, my last one for you to guess, I do have the bonus one that I just found was fascinating that I never knew existed. Could you tell me what peas pudding is?
Peas pudding.
Peas pudding.
Does it have peas in it?
No, which is the trick.
What?
It doesn't have anything to do with peas.
But is it like peas pudding like some lady with the name Penelope came up
Oh,
with it?
peas is spelt Pease.
Oh, peas pudding.
Peas pudding.
Is it some kind of rice pudding? Is it a dessert?
It's not really a dessert. No, it's not a dessert.
Is it a figgy pudding?
No, it's not a figgy pudding. It's not
like the song
Christmassy.
says.
It's not Christmas. It's not figgy pudding. It's not Christmas pudding. It's not Christmas cake. It's not mince pies.
Peas pudding. Does it have rice in it?
I mean, think of something that looks like rice.
It's like a grain, like a oat, like a. Is
You're in the right
is it
family.
like a porridge? Is it like a
Oh, you're in the
porridge?
right aesthetic. It looks like vomit. I think it looks like thick vomit. Peas pudding. I really do.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's like a porridge.
It's essentially boiled and pureed lentils
Oh, okay.
that I really do think looks like thick yellow vomit.
Yeah, so it's like kalaloo. Like it does not look very appetizing at
No,
all.
but that is peas pudding.
Okay, why are they calling it a pudding? It's like a
I, I,
soup.
I, I
It's like a
don't know.
lentil soup.
It's thicker than that. It's thicker than soup. I've never
Ugh,
eaten it. Do we have a last one?
yikes.
Or
Yes, I have a
okay,
last one.
okay,
Morgan,
yes. This has been fun.
what is what is coconut bake?
Coconut bake.
Yes.
It's coconuts. It's essentially a cake that is made really with kind of marbled coconut throughout. Shaved coconuts on the top of it, and you serve it on birthdays. Coconut bake. No,
No. It's actually like a bread.
a bread.
So, yes, made with flour and butter and nutmeg and coconut milk. And it's very dense.
Okay.
It's kind of hard.
Hard.
But yeah.
I wouldn't have thought it was hard.
Yeah.
Coconut bake. Doesn't sound
Yes,
hard.
it's a very dense bread. It's a
Okay.
dense bread.
Okay.
Made with coconut.
I don't like coconut. I wouldn't like that.
And you can have it. And you can have it kind of sweet or kind of savory.
I see. Okay. No, I don't like
Yeah.
coconut at
So
all.
it's like cornbread, like the
Okay.
equivalent to cornbread. It could be savory or it could be like sweet
I
dessert
see.
kind of thing.
I see. Well, okay. That was fun. You know what? That was an educational game today, Jeannine. It was an educational
Yes.
game today, and I appreciated the education. I do have a bonus one that I found out. It's called Stargazy Pie.
What
Now,
is that?
Stargazy Pie is really dark because it's essentially a fish pie. So it's, just think of a fish pie, just a fish pie.
Okay.
But the fact of what it makes it a stargazy pie is the fact that the fish that you've put in the actual pie, the heads of the fish, you cook into the crust and have them look at the sky.
Ew. That's disgusting.
That is stargazy pie.
Why would you do
So
that?
I don't know why anybody would want to eat that.
Why would you leave those fish heads on there?
The fish heads are cooked into the crust of the pie and pointed upwards
So you
to
can
look
like
at the
see their
stars.
eyes. Just like,
Yeah, weird. Anyway, there
okay.
we go,
All
Jeannine,
right. Well,
for
thank you
this.
for sharing that tidbit
Yes.
there.
Educational food. I'm very,
Yes.
very hungry now.
Yay.
Fun
I know, me
episode of
too.
Monday Madness. Fun stuff we talked about today. Very, very food centric. But yes, please definitely
Yes.
go and watch The Menu. A great
So
new
good. It's
movie.
really good.
And we're excited about those trailers as well. Go and check out some of those
Mhm.
food movies if you haven't. It's
Yes.
fun. Always on Monday Madness. Jeannine, this is not the only show we have on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed, nor is it the only thing we have on the It's a Wonderful podcast channel. As on the feed, we also have Morgan Hasn't Seen every Wednesday, where you force me to watch
Mhm.
things I haven't seen. We are still on our Spielberg movies
Yes.
at the moment. It's always exciting. Last week was Minority Report.
Mhm.
And this week will be Ready Player One on Morgan Hasn't Seen. There's the main show as well, of course. It's a Wonderful podcast every Friday celebrating old movies, showing love to them, discovering new old movies. This is what we love to do most
Me
on It's a
too.
Wonderful podcast. So you can find us there Monday with this show, Wednesday with Morgan Hasn't Seen, Friday with It's a Wonderful podcast every week on Anchor, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Castbox, Amazon Music, all the other places there. And subscribe, ding the notification bells on this YouTube channel if you are watching Monday Madness right now for this show every week. As well as all the other stuff we have on this channel, reviews and watch-alongs and retro trailer reactions and movie collection videos and all the rest of it too. You can see, if you are watching as well, things scrolling down at the bottom of the screen, including the Patreon and the donation link that you can find in the description if you would like to support us that way. If you are feeling particularly generous, we cannot do what we do without the wonderful support of our glorious patrons. We love them all dearly. And of course, you can find us on social media if Twitter still exists, which it might do. It probably does.
Uh,
On Twitter at It's a Wonderful One for the show. At the Purple Dom with a 3 instead of the E in the because, Jeannine.
3 is the magic number.
That is me, or me on Instagram at the Purple Don. Jeannine, all your foodie loving stuff is where?
Ooh. You can find me at Janine_Devine on Twitter, Janine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can find that at our Teespring shop. Link is in the description below, or you can see it scrolling by if you are watching. We have some fun designs there, all of our logos, some fun Stranger Things designs, so check it out. If you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
Well, there we go. I don't know if there's like a fun impression actually today. Is there really? Fancy food person, fancy chef? There's not really. Do an impression of Gordon Ramsay. and just shout.
Oh, no.
No, don't do that. That'd be a terrible idea.
No.
I'd also like to
I can't
point
do
out,
that.
I think the game lasted about half an hour there, just because we were interested in learning.
And then, yeah, learning about each other's foods of the world.
It wasn't really a game, was it?
No, it was just an
It's just-
educational
It's an
segment.
educational trivia segment, exactly.
Yes.
Well, there we go. Jeannine, there is one thing left to do. Go ahead.
That's all.
Bye. Yeah. Great.